Bigfoot stomping in the dark, dark night. Aliens dancing in the pale moonlight. Cryptid chatter blowing up the airwaves. Dr. Hogwash gonna make your day. Dr. Hogwash, yeah, he's the boss. Taking all the secrets and scrubbing off the gloss. Dr. Hogwash, awesome. Turn it up loud. The truth is stranger and it's drawing a crowd. Ooh, Sasquatch tracks, Roswell facts, tinfoil hats. Dr. Hogwash got your back. Dr. Hogwash, oh yeah, don't stop. Turn it up, it's a truth drop. Dr. Hogwash, oh yeah, don't stop. You ready now? Let's go pop, pop, pop.
Greetings, truth enthusiasts, accidental scholars, and people who clicked this while microwaving leftovers. I am Dr. Hogwash, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere between reason and raised eyebrows. Tonight's episode begins with a simple question. Why does a tiny speck of land in the Pacific Ocean have nearly 1,000 gigantic stone heads? And why do they look like they just caught you doing something you promised you wouldn't do again? Yes, friends, tonight we visit Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui, home of the legendary Moai statues. Massive faces, long ears, stoic expressions, and secrets stacked higher than a souvenir shop on a tourist pier. Who built them? How did they move them? And why does every explanation end with, well, probably, followed by nervous academic coughing? Adjust your tinfoil halos and stretch your curiosity muscles. We are going headfirst into stone-faced strangeness. What are the Moai really? Let's start with the basics before we sprint into the fog. The Moai are massive stone statues, most carved between roughly 1100 and 1600 AD. They average about 13 feet tall. Some weigh over 80 tons. And they were carved mostly from volcanic rock at a quarry called Rano Raraku. So far, so good. Humans carving big things, humans stacking big things, humans saying, yeah, that'll be fine, and then inventing back problems. But here's where things tilt sideways. Most of the statues were moved miles from the quarry to platforms called ahu, usually along the coast. And these platforms face inward toward the villages, not out to sea, which suggests the statues weren't guarding against outsiders. They were watching their own people. So what were they? Ancestors? Spiritual guardians? Managers? Stone HR department? Many researchers believe the Moai represented important chiefs or ancestors whose spiritual energy, called mana, protected the living community. Which is comforting and also mildly unsettling if you think about an entire island being supervised by silent boulder grandparents. Wait, they have bodies? Now, friends, this is the part of the story where the internet collectively went, the what now? Because for decades, popular images showed only the heads. Big faces, long ears, stone busts, right? Wrong. Turns out, many of the Moai have full bodies buried beneath the soil. Torsos, arms, hands, fingers resting along their sides like they're standing at attention, waiting for a very slow elevator. Archaeologists excavated several statues and found they were not just plopped into the ground like decorative lawn gnomes. They were standing upright. And over centuries, soil and erosion slowly buried everything but the head and shoulders. So the island wasn't originally dotted with heads, it was filled with entire stone figures, rising from the earth like an army of extremely patient supervisors. And here's where things get even stranger. Some of those buried bodies have carvings and symbols etched into their backs, hidden for hundreds of years. Not decorative fronts for tourists, private markings, meant to be seen by, well, nobody walking around today. Which raises a fascinating question. If the statues were meant to be seen only as heads, why bother carving the rest? Unless the full form mattered. unless they were never meant to be half-buried in the first place, unless time itself turned a lineup of guardians into a row of floating faces. So what changed? Did the builders expect the land to shift? Did they plan for long-term burial, like stone time capsules? Or did nature simply tuck them in while history got distracted? What we think of as the iconic look of Easter Island may actually be the after picture of something that once looked very different. How did they move these things? Now we reach the part where every documentary narrator lowers their voice and says, "Scientists believe," which is academic code for "we have theories and very flexible confidence." Here are the mainstream explanations. Theory 1. Logs and sleds. The traditional idea is that the islanders rolled the statues on wooden logs, dragging them like enormous stone couches across the landscape. Problem: Easter Island had very limited trees, and deforestation happened early. So either they used all the wood to move statues, or they used magic, or the trees quietly packed up and left to avoid responsibility. Theory 2. Walking statues. Yes, walking. Some experiments have shown that with ropes on both sides, teams can wiggle a statue forward in a rocking motion, making it look like it's walking. Which is great, except now we have to imagine hundreds of people slowly shimmying enormous stone men across uneven terrain without dropping them, cracking them, or inventing several new curse words. But here's the spooky part. Local legends say the Moai walked themselves. Now either that's poetic storytelling, or the islanders witnessed something they couldn't easily describe, and later generations filed it under, "Yeah, they walked, don't overthink it." Ancient texts and oral histories often describe advanced or strange technology in symbolic ways. Fire becomes divine. Machines become creatures. Movement becomes magic. Sound familiar? It should. Ancient astronaut fans just perked up like prairie dogs at a fireworks show. The out there theories. Now we stroll into the idea garden where the fences are low and the thoughts are tall. Some theorists suggest that Easter Island may have been part of a much older, much larger civilization that spanned the Pacific. Others suggest the Moai were markers of ley lines, energy grids, or planetary monitoring stations. And yes, some say outside visitors may have helped. Let's not say who, but they like flying, and not with Southwest. There is no direct physical evidence of extraterrestrial construction crews taking lunch breaks at the quarry, but what does exist is a global pattern. Massive stone monuments, advanced engineering, cultures separated by oceans describing sky beings, teachers, and watchers. Pyramids in Egypt, stone heads on Easter Island, megalithic cities in South America, all built without modern tools according to official timelines. Which leads some to ask, did ancient humans forget something we once knew? Or did they receive help they later explained through myth? History is written by survivors, librarians, and whoever finds the last tablet. The island's collapse, warning from the past. Now here comes the part where the mystery meets the mirror. At some point, Easter Island civilization declined dramatically. Resources disappeared, trees were gone, society fractured. Some scholars think statue building became an obsession that drained the island's ability to survive. Imagine pouring everything into monuments while the grocery store quietly closes forever. Eventually, rival groups began toppling each other's statues. Not just vandalism, symbolic warfare. You knock over my ancestors, I knock over yours, which is heartbreakingly human, even when the ancestors weigh several trucks. It raises an uncomfortable question. Were the Moai symbols of unity at first, that later became symbols of competition and collapse? Or were they always part of a system we still don't understand? Why does Easter Island still feel unfinished? Here's something rarely mentioned. Hundreds of statues were never moved from the quarry. Some are half buried. Some look abandoned mid-carving, almost like the project suddenly stopped. Not slowly, not politely, stopped. Which could mean social collapse, war, famine, or something more abrupt. When ancient building projects stop suddenly, archaeologists usually expect a dramatic reason. History doesn't often press pause, it slams doors. And we don't know which door closed here. And remember those famous heads? They're not heads. They're the visible tip of an entire buried civilization, standing quietly beneath our assumptions. Which feels symbolic, doesn't it? We think we're seeing the whole story, but history, like the Moai, tends to hide most of itself underground. So what is Easter Island really telling us? That humans can achieve incredible feats without modern tech? Absolutely. That culture and belief can move mountains, or at least very stern-looking heads? Certainly. But also that civilizations can forget their own origins, their own methods, and even the meaning of the things they built. The Moai stand there, silent, watching villages that no longer exist, guarding traditions no one fully remembers, which makes them less like monuments and more like voicemail messages from the deep past saying, "Hey, you were supposed to remember this part, but we didn't." And that, dear listeners, may be the greatest mystery of all. I am Dr. Hogwash, reminding you that history is not a straight line. It is a maze, and someone keeps rearranging the walls when we're not looking. Sleep well, question politely, and if a stone head starts inching closer to your house tonight, maybe just close the curtains and let him finish his patrol. Until next time, Dr. Hogwash, out.